Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to a new episode of Far From Home, a talk with a friend abroad. This afternoon, our guest is our friend Fioralba. It's funny because we met in Italy, like in Turin, even if in Italy you were living in Rome at that time, when we were like discussing like second generation and the right to citizenship. And then we accidentally actually met in Albania in a diaspora forum. And that was interesting because then we started like being in touch again. And so thank you now for joining, because now you are Italian Albania, now living in Albania. And so the first question is actually how you ended up like being back to Albania. How was your migration experience?
Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for having this format, the talks with friends abroad, because I think it's a good opportunity to talk between friends, but also to show how it's the life of expats or people that are more in between, more moving around. Actually, I am 30 years old, and I was born in Albania, in Shkodra, in the northern part of Albania, and my parents migrated in Rome when I was 11 years old. So I grew up for my adolescence, for my youth. I grew up in Rome, in the province of Rome, in Italy, and I started to understand my identity, because actually all my life, my second part of the life, of course, I was really struggling to go back in Albania. I had this nostalgia. We have in Albanian, we say mal, it's like saudade. It's a special word for our language. And I had this mal. I wanted extremely to go back to Albania, also because the choice to migrate wasn't mine.
Yes.
So I didn't choose to leave everything in Albania. So when I wanted to grow up, I wanted to go back in Albania to maybe marry an Albanian guy. And actually, I found an Albanian living in Albania, also in my standards, of course, because that was difficult to be a little like a feminist, and I'm glad I found him. But it was like a circle that closed itself. How it says in English? Un cerchio che si chiude.
Okay.
So I accomplished this idea I had, but I had to finish my university, my psychology degree in Italy, and when I finished the degree, I came back. Let's say back
in between
life, Albania, but in a different city, in the capital city. So every time I say I came back in Albania, I regret because it's not a turn back. It's different. It's a different city. It's the capital. You are not in your house. For example, in this quarantine period, I miss a lot my country house with the garden, and I have no garden here. I'm in the 6th floor of a building with other buildings around, so it's very different. And but I understand, even in my choice in this experience, that I couldn't be in a country. Like I couldn't decide to stay just in a country and to have my mind focused in everything about a country. Maybe this kind of feeling of nostalgia, it's like something that I will bring in my life forever.
forever?
Yeah.
Because what is happening now is that you have nostalgia of Italy, or
Of
okay.
course. Of course,
Okay.
I'm missing everything Italian in this period. For example, one of my favorite days in these 2 months was when I did grocery, online grocery, of course, in the Conad, in the Italian supermarket.
Supermarket.
It's a little bit expensive, but I bought pancetta, I bought limoncello, everything Italian I miss.
Typical Italian products.
Yeah, I was like, and not only from Rome, from Lazio, but everything like mozzarella from Napoli, limoncello from Sicily, like everything. It was my day. I signed it in the calendar. But also, of course, I miss my fightings, my battles towards civil rights and citizenship, and I miss in the idea that the meetings in the squares, in the piazza, in under the meetings with the different stakeholders of citizenship, it's something that it's normal in this period. But I'm engaged in these areas also online. No problem.
It's interesting, I think, and thank you for sharing, because I think it's like your experience is really interesting, and again, it's not only your experience. Actually, I think a lot of second or third generation, they can share it, but also the first generation, because what you mentioned is what in like sociologists they say is the myth of return, and the first generation generally they have this myth of return, so the idea of one day I will be back. And this is also why they keep sending remittances. They keep like, maybe they're gonna build, or they build a house or two houses, one for them, one for the kids, and then there is this idea of coming back. And but then there is, when this happens, is not the same as your idea and the myth that you had, and so then there is a kind of another cultural shock, maybe when you go back and you understand that you don't fit there anymore, because you have an ideal country in your mind that is not the same anymore, and then you find yourself kind of in between, and you don't fit like totally in one country, but also you don't fit totally in the other country, and so then you have to like find a balance between exactly.
Of course. Actually, I try to, you are mentioning also this book, Donne d'Albania.
Okay.
I wrote about second generations, but I called myself a generation in between, because sociologically,
the age you move is not only a total second generation.
It's 1.5. Because I was in not a child, but also not an adult. So I'm between, and if we understand my past, my history, I went back in Albania every summer, and I was really acknowledged about actuality. No, what's the news about Albania, political and social.
You knew what was going on there and what's going on,
and culture and everything. But now there is mediatically, there is also an idea of Albania in very romantic way. So it maybe this more than an ideal Albania, but more the mediatic Albania. Something that I confronted, I faced in my return. Yeah, but then I chose to stay in between, and to continue between Albania and Italy every month, and every 2 months, and and then it happened, the coronavirus.
Yes, so you were
And I
forced to
was,
stop there.
yeah, it really it was a difficult moment for me, because I had a master about digital communication going on, and I saw in Italy that everything was especially the meetings, cultural, formative, were closing up, and so fortunately we had good understanding, of course, digital communication, and we had a continuing
Online
master on internet. So it was nice to see that people understood this situation, or what's going on about the safety of health safety. So I decided to stay here, even because my situation is I'm here in Tirana with my husband and the cat. My parents are in Rome with our cats. The couple of our parents, the parents of my husband, my parents-in-law, are in the south of Albania. And my sister with her husband is in Brescia, Lombardia, and her parents-in-law are in Florence. So we are all
between Albania and Italy.
We are missing each other, but trying to communicate in group chats, video chats, and keep in touch with.
Yes, online. I have actually a question, because so your parents are still in Italy, and what was the reaction when you told them that you're gonna like go back to Albania, or you wanted to like marry an Albanian man? Were there, because sometimes also when we change, and especially it's like there is also like intercultural issues in the family, and
yeah, it's very difficult, because they have the low anxiety. If I see my history, my education I had from them, they have a very low level of anxiety, and so they try to. My father is an artist, so I think this is the reason why. And my mom, it's not an artist, but when I see her, I understand that she's an artisan more than an artist. She makes things with her hands, so maybe it has this mentality. And actually they never said clearly that they want not for me to go back in Albania. Because maybe they understand that this was my
choice,
something, but something I need to do for my growth. So, but I understand actually in some ways.
Yes.
They were not happy.
They were not happy. Okay.
Yeah. For example, because they went to complain to my friends about me and my situation. Yeah. Or because they tried so hard
to make it in
a job, or to find me some situation that could bring me in Italy again. And I face them sometimes. Not every time, but we try to understand this feeling and the reasons and the path everybody had to do freely.
Yes, and then it probably is also funny because you have now kind to explain to them their country, because now you're the one living there, or their country of origin. And probably the country, of course, has changed since their time when they used to live there, and so they have an idea about the country that maybe is back then, but now your experience is different of the country.
Absolutely. I mean, being a second generation, it puts you to some situation that you have to translate the new country of your parents. So you have to write the justifications, like the reasons why you didn't went to school for a day, or you had a problem to an issue with homework or something like that. You have to write, and the mom or dad just sign, just the signature, and that's it.
Yes.
You have to help your parents to fill the questionnaires about, I don't know, statistics for ISTAT, for example.
You did this when you were in Italy. You were the translator for them.
When I was a child, yeah. Or to fill in the documents for the stay permit.
Yes.
Things like that. You are like the grown parent that help your parent. Okay.
Yes.
So, but now it's like you said. So I'm explaining what Albania is, and trying helping them to skip the ideal Albania that passes through the social media or through the newspapers. So not just the beauty, but also the ugly Albania, or social issues, human rights issues, and things that maybe are done politically just for propaganda, but the reality when you touch them, it's are different. So you have to explain everything and to try, especially because now fake news are really a deep issue, and I think we have to agree that our parents are the first victims of that. And so we are like wardens of fake news in our home. In our families.
It's so true, extremely. And just one like question or comment on this point, on this part, because I think that you managed to, or of course we are always trying to be and become, but you manage also to be that kind of bridge between the two countries. So when we speak about like second generation or like 1.25 or 75, but the idea, and I always said this, I think the potential that Italy is still trying to like realize that they have the potential is that you have people they can be comfortable in two different countries, in two different languages, and that can really help you they can be this bridge between the two countries. So in your case, you did one project that just finished. It was exactly about this, being this bridge between the two countries. If you can explain to us a little bit, how was the project?
The project was, I think you are referring to Artisan Online.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a project that actually was born in my association, Questa Roma, in a second generation association. And it was the first opportunity we had to make a project and be founded by the International Organization of Migration. And it was a very big opportunity. And we, first thing, I tried to have a good partnership. And I invited to collaborate another second generation Albanian, Italo-Albanian, but also very proficient, very experienced in projects of development and cooperation. So the idea was to build a bridge, like physically, between the potential of Albania, that is art, artisanate, handmade things, handcraft, all these things, the beauty of these products, and to bring them in Italy, but not just like a profit thing, but to capitalize the human capital, the diaspora capital.
Yes.
And the tool to doing that in the project was online, was digital communication, graphic design, social media, and we did it in 2 different projects. We were founded also by a group of associations of region Toscana, Tuscany region. So it's finished now, but we are, it's like our mission. We created a group of three or four different associations, and we are continually facing, confronting, talking about, brainstorming about this thing, because actually, if you think, it's a little sad to see that in Albania there are not, in Italy, with the second foreign community of
Migrant second generation.
Yeah, migrant in general. Yeah, there are, Albania is second or third.
Yes.
As a foreign community, so it's sad to not see Albanian restaurants, to not be incapable of having a supermarket or a place where you can buy something to eat or to use, to dress, or to gift to your friends, for example, because I think now it's the moments are mature to create also a passion, an interest about Albanian fashion. I mean, if we see in the intercultural events, if we see the women dressed with the traditional clothes, or the music, the dances, are something that we can relate to.
Yes.
And I think the Italians are ready to join this product. So
I think it's interesting, and this is, I would say, is another 1 hour talk or lesson about the migration integration strategies, because Albania, and also we know that also there is a responsibility of the media, because some communities, they were also the target of like bad news, and so then their strategy was also to like hidden. So all the proud of being Albanian was something that was like kept secret kind of, and try to be and behave like the Italians, so no one notices us, and they will notice someone else to be the bad ones, because then it's always like escape the bad news. But I agree with you that probably now it's time to like this proud of being Albanian and the Albanian culture to be like bring to Italy or rediscovered by the Italians, and also Albania as a touristic destination. So now after the COVID-19,
to mix also our cultures, to make a melting point. I mean, now it's time to the tradition cannot be understood without a little bit of mixture. I mean,
yes, that's true. Okay, so I think you already said something, but what were the challenges for you during this like COVID-19 and your family, or like spread around between Italy and Albania, and professionally or personally?
For me, it's I'm a little bit a lazy person. Like when I was a child, I was lazy, close in my world, not very social. And growing up, I understood that I cannot change the world. I cannot fight for the good without meeting people and without empathy. Like meeting, open the mind, open the ears, hearing stories and telling stories. It's our way to be human. So when I knew that we had to be in the house, I had mixed feelings. But for me, the challenge, I think the main challenge was a routine, having a routine, because my life, it's sometimes it is between like the laziest person, and then I made 10 things in a day, online, offline. I go meeting people, and I have a lot of interest. Or prioritizing for me was one, like creating a routine. It was the first challenge. And then prioritizing what I have to do now, what I have to do later, what is important to do well, and what is important to do fast. So, for example, the first month was good for me to relax, actually, but also I lose my flow. I lose because sometimes I don't sleep well, or I don't sleep when I have to. But I have to meet a friend, and so
you do what you have to do.
Yeah, I balance my sleep time, my circadian rhythm, and everything. But not having people to meet, not having meetings or things with precise, with exact time to do, I lost every balance the first month. And then I decided to use my studies in psychology. Actually, I made a calculation. I have on 120 formative credits. I studied like 12 only for the circadian rhythm, for sleeping. So I was, Fioralba, you study psychology, you can do this. Please grow up and do something. And then I balanced.
You set a routine.
Yeah, my routine, my rhythm, and I wake up. I'm also a late owl, so I changed everything about this, and I'm very proud. I will conserve this thing for, I hope, the rest of my life. A big promise. And yeah, also another challenge I faced in my apartment, in my flat, was that I don't have a lot of sun.
Mm-hmm.
And having a cat in the house, I was like emulating him. And I was trying to put the best things of his behavior. And I changed a little bit the home design, the system, the order of the sofa was a little bit sliced, because just to join all the sun, because I have like 4 or 5 hours of sun in a day. So it was important to have a little bit of light during the day. And then I changed my routine by drinking a coffee, a mocha, music in the morning, like everything I needed to have a boost and do my things. Yeah, I think also multitasking is something sometimes I overwhelmed by multitasking, but then I think I found my personal balance. Of course, if we see, if we read, if we see webinars and everything, everybody is trying to put us in a mood that permit us to learn, over accomplish. You have to be a different person and everything, but it's not impossible. I mean, maybe we have to understand that this is one of our objectives, I mean, it's a path, but everybody has a different way to arrive to get there. Yeah. So we don't. I think the world in this situation have to understand that over accomplishing, over being beautiful, like the image or everything, we can lose our we can have the right to not be perfect.
Yes, but to be the best version of ourselves, but not the best version.
Inside and everything, but we can join the loneliness to be with ourselves, or only the congiunti, only our family, but also we have to find our balance. Just
I totally agree. I think this is also part probably of the resources that in your case you can share. Some other also have shared with us. It was also a process of like self-discipline, self-awareness, understand better yourself, and maybe your old self that was like coming back, like the lazy person, but then also find like self-discipline, not to lose also this time as an opportunity. But at the same time, I think also enjoying, again, we have seen this and we have said this in most of the talks, but really the time at home was also try to find at home what you it makes you happy. And so also the sun is something, again, such a little thing, but so important. And we know that can like influence our mood, or like the way we act, the way we think.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is any other resource that you would like to share.
Let me think. I think trying to have a balance between multitasking and overwhelming of news, is because in my case I have an ear for Albania, an ear for Italy, an ear for what is happening around me, and an ear what is happening with civil rights or human rights in Italy. And yeah, in this period I tried to network, but with a focus. I mean, I tried to have quality time with people that share with me something, like freely comment between friends something happening on the news, but also planning strategically with other groups. We when we see the memes on internet, for example, the difference between women and men, or something very simplified about our personality, we can do it for ourselves. I mean, we can understand what is more important, even if we are at home alone. What is more important for us? What we absolutely can't lose in this time. I can't lose the right to speak, or to find what is wrong in some issues, for example. And so I will have a box, a time every day for that. I have to know what is happening around me. So because I'm living in Albania, it's important to see how my country is facing my government, especially is facing the quarantine, the social distancing, and I also have like an aim, an objective to change something in my family, in my people that are around me, or in the neighborhood. So I will do something small, but to change. For example, in Albania, privacy is like very important,
Very important.
essential. What I do, I open all the
The curtains.
the curtains. I open every curtain just to. I don't mind if you see I'm if it's a little bit.
It's not well organized or too well organized.
House. And maybe communicate between windows in the apartment, or to help somebody in the neighborhood when you go out. It's a moment when you think more about yourself, your personality, but also how you can do a better person. For example, discipline, it's really a problem for me, but I think I'm changed in 2 months. And when I see a lot of people, for example, now relaxing about social distancing, I do mine. I don't go out a lot. I try to do my things and to give an example.
Yeah, I think also you mentioned something interesting and important, because now, we are connected with everywhere, and we read news about every places, and then you can follow webinars about everything. But then there's also all the local dimension, and the local dimension in this time was really like the terrace life, or the balconies, or the windows, and your neighborhood. And I think this is something we realize that is also important, or we realize that it was missing. And so just seeing like someone around you maybe doing something and smiling, like from a balcony to the other, it was something that it was.
Yeah, important. I don't know if I can share a moment. I was very happy a day, 2 days before, to see a man in 50s dyeing the hairs of his wife. It was special. I mean, just something like this can change your day, so can make your day.
Yes.
So
good. Thank you very much. So we're almost at the end of our talk. Now, there is a message to your country or countries. So in your case, you can do one or two or both. So feel free to send your message.
Okay, so let's begin with Albania. Atëherë, shqiptar, unë nëse po më shikoni, nëse po më dëgjoni, shpresoj që jeni mirë me shëndet, dhe shpresoj të jeni mirë dhe familjet tuaja. Ju lutem, keni kujdes për shëndetin. Shëndeti është gjëja më kryesore që kemi, por gjithashtu keni kujdes se çfarë po ndodh rreth jush, dhe hapni syt dhe luftoni për një botë më të mirë. Andiamo con l'italiano. Allora, se mi state vedendo, ho un messaggio per voi. Utilizzate questo tempo in modo produttivo, ma cercate il meglio, cercate di diventare delle persone migliori, ma non siate troppo critici con voi stessi e con gli altri. Insomma, spero che presto ci incontreremo. Shpresoj që shpejt do takohena, por ndërkohë shëndet, siguri, rinit sigurt në shtëpiat tuaja. State sicuri a casa, vabbè, io proprio i messaggi.
Perfect. Marisei, faleminderi. Thank you, grazie. Grazie mille, speriamo di vederci presto da qualche parte. So hope to see you again somewhere, maybe Italy, Albania, or who knows.
Grazie.
Bye.